Photography friends, my name is Henry, and on this YouTube channel I share the behind the scenes of my photography adventures.
Look what landscape photography does to us.
Some tips and tricks,
Then we've got the line coming in.
and of course a little bit of banter.
Get a look at that.
Currently releasing one video per day over the Advent period, so make sure that you subscribe to the channel and hit that little notification bell so that you don't miss any of these uploads. Now let's get into today's video. So welcome back to the channel, ladies and gents and fellow photographers. Now in today's video, I want to talk all about brand loyalty. Why is it that as photographers, we have such strong attachments and connections to certain camera brands or certain lens brands, or even certain accessory brands? I want to talk about why I think these loyalties can be a good thing, but also why I think a lot of the time they can actually be a bad thing as well. So we'll get into that. We're in the beautiful Morecambe Bay. The sun hasn't made an appearance just yet, but it is forecast, so we can only cross our fingers, and hopefully along the way this evening we can get some nice photographs as well. Now I have to just be honest, I'm not particularly enjoying this so far. I've just been sort of wandering up these mud flats here. It's beautiful, don't get me wrong, it's nice to be out as always, but in terms of the photography, oh my goodness man, I mean this is all so familiar to me. It's another one of these landscapes where I'd oftentimes just brand it as a bit boring, you know, but that's fine. You know, it just means there's a bit more of a challenge for us as photographers, and it happens a lot, doesn't it? Now let's get on to the subject of brand loyalty, because I think this first point is perhaps the most interesting. To be honest, I needed to give my boots a bit of a clean anyway. I've been kind of putting it off, so it'll give me a kick up the botty to sort them out when I get home. Now let's get on to this first point about brand loyalty, and this is the side that I think can be really bad actually. And look, we all know that photographer, especially on the internet, that is just blindly loyal to the brand of camera that they shoot with for no reason. And they'll let you know about it. You know, they're on some sort of ego trip with it. You must shoot with Canon. Don't be shooting with Fuji. Full frame all the way or else you're not a proper photographer. You must have a whole host of f2.8 lenses or you will never succeed. It's just an utter load of nonsense, isn't it? But the sad part about this is, for me, is everything that you might be missing out on if you've got that sort of mindset. Now, of course, there are a whole host of reasons as to why you might shoot with a particular camera brand year after year, and they're completely valid reasons. Of course there are, we'll get into that. But this is the side that I think is really bad. Now, if you're stuck in a comfort zone with your camera brand, or you're just blind to any other brands, and you always have been, this is where I think it can be a little bit of a shame, because you could potentially be hindering like your own creative growth, let's say, as a photographer. There might be other camera brands that would be so much more suited to you and your style as a photographer, but you're just reluctant, you're just not willing to give them a go. And that's the side that I think is a little bit of a shame. Now I'm absolutely not saying just go out and buy every camera brand and spend all of your money and figure out which one's best for you. I'm just saying, perhaps the next time, you know, you're looking at buying a new camera, be a little bit more open to the possibility of trying out a different brand. You know, do a lot of research online. That's what I always do. And maybe you'll see, oh, actually, I think this Sony camera might suit me a bit more. It depends on you. That's what it all comes down to. How are you as a photographer? What is your style? What is your workflow and everything like that, you know? So I think I might have found my first photograph of the evening, which I'm glad about, because I was a bit worried before that there wasn't going to be any photography. By the way, I shoot with Nikon because Nikon's the best. Right, I'll talk you through this shot now. I was going to start this off by saying I don't think this is going to be much of a good shot, but you know what? I think I'm actually going to quite like it. I love these channels that we get here in Morecambe Bay or any estuary-like area. They are really fun to photograph, you know, and this one's making for a nice bit of nice bit of foreground, or in saying that, it's making up most of the composition, because as you can see here, it's just this nice sweeping sort of S-curve that's leading out into this clear area of weather right off in the distance back to some of the Yorkshire Dales, I think. So it is nice, but I think what is really making this image pop is, you can see it a little bit there, look, like the nice reflected light on the water on this little channel. Yeah, it is lovely. So I'm just shooting in aperture priority, like I have been doing so much recently, 1/100th of a second, and it's at f6.3. ISO is on auto, but it's ISO 64 anyway, because, well, it's nice and bright. So it looks like it might be clearing ever so slightly, or we might be getting some nice clouds off where the sun is setting, so we'll keep the fingers crossed. I just grabbed a shot there as well, actually. I sort of turned around and thought, oh, that looks quite nice. So I don't know if that's any good. Got old Heysham power station off in the background looking stunning. I don't know why, but there's something about that as a subject, very distant subject, that I quite like. I don't know, probably on a mad one with that. Now, let me talk about where I think camera brand loyalty can actually be a good thing for us photographers. So as most of you probably know, when I first got into landscape photography, I lived in Canada, and the first camera that I bought was a Nikon D3100, and I loved it. It was brilliant, And since then, I have always, for the most part, shot with Nikon. It's always been like my main system, and I reckon if I was to put it into one word as to why that is, for me, and I reckon for a lot of you as well, it will be familiarity. I know Nikon cameras, I know where all the buttons are and what they do. I understand like the menu system. It's not alien to me. I know where I can find things quickly. I know how the colours look in post-processing. All of this stuff to me is actually very important, because for me, and for all of us really, this is just a tool, you know. The job is getting done out here with our minds, and it's important that we know how to use this. And that's so important, of course it is. This effectively makes me feel like an efficient photographer, because I know I can call on this and I know what I'm doing. But yeah, like I said, I reckon most of us have, you know, we bought our first camera, or we got given our first camera, and that's the reason that we stick with that brand. But yeah, please do comment down below. I'd love to know, why do you shoot with a certain camera brand? Why are you loyal to a certain camera brand, or are you not? Is it the same reason as me? I think it's really interesting, because it's not just cameras and stuff, is it? It's all different things. I mean, actually, I got an iPhone, just to use an example, and I've always had iPhones because I'm in the ecosystem. I like them. They just work, and I've never had any issues with them for the most part. I don't really see a reason to switch. It just suits me down to the ground. And that's the same with Nikon, I guess. I'm in the ecosystem. I've got a good workflow going on with it. It all just feels right. Now, I'll tell you one thing that I don't like about Nikon, and let me tell you this is fussy, this is over the top, this is downright weird. I've never heard another photographer complain about this. I don't know if other brands are like this, but this is well annoying, man. Are you ready for this? See how you've got the cap there on the back of the lens? Why is it, man? Why is it that you've got to turn these the opposite ways to like everything else in life to get them on and off? To get this off, I have to turn it to the right, and it comes off. It's well annoying. And then to get it back on and to tighten it, I'm turning it left. Lefty loosey, righty tighty, not the other way around. Every single time I want to take one of these caps off, I'm pulling it to the left to try and loosen it, and then I think, oh yeah, Nikon, I have to turn it to the right to get it off. Are other camera brands like that? Is anyone even bothered about that? Probably not. So I've quite surprised myself really, because for the minute at least, I'm actually photographing in the opposite direction to what I thought I'd be. I thought I was going to be photographing back into the bay, but I just think this looks amazing. Looking back up to Humphrey Head Point, We've got some really nice hills off in the background. I just love all this doom and gloom. It's really kind of dramatic. I like it. And then, yeah, wide angle lens on after I managed to loosen the cap on the back finally. And yeah, I'm just going to explore around a little bit, probably get down low, stick something right down in the foreground, because the background I can't change too much, whereas the foreground, I mean, look at all these rocks, all these little rock pools, the nooks and crannies. It's really exciting actually. These are beautiful foreground subjects, so it's just a case of trying to find the right subject down here. So I've put you on a big massive wide angle thing so you can see everything that's going on. I probably look really weird, but yeah, I wanted to show you everything that I'm seeing. And I did move around a little bit, but as seems to be so often the case with my own landscape photography, I often end up reverting to the original idea that I had, and that was just this lovely shaped rock pool here. We've got some of these really characterful rocks over here on the left hand side. They've got all this, is it lichen it's called? I never know what it's called. The sort of greeny yellow substance on the surface of the rock, and it's just adding to it, you know, it's giving it a little bit of colour. And what I like here as well is the grasses. Again, coming back to the colour. If I went back that way behind yous, it was more like, well, muddy. So I much prefer this. So the polarizer is doing so much here. As you've seen it there, that's without any polarization whatsoever. And watch as I turn it round, it gets rid of all of that glare on the pool. But this is pretty rare, but I don't think I like it. Probably because the colour of the pool is just brown underneath. It's not particularly attractive. So I think what I'm going to do is have it like half, something like that. Retain a little bit of that glare. That's really strange, isn't it? I don't ever recall doing this. We're at 14mm, f8, ISO 64 and 1/2 of a second. It's got quite dark. You can probably see the beautiful strip of light off in the background there. We've still got about 10 minutes till the sunset, and then look, as the colour is starting to turn up here as well. That was really unexpected. So, ooh, I hope you like this image now, and then we'll see what happens over the next 10 or 15 minutes. So I'm not sure if this is going to work, but I'm just quickly sending the drone up, I suppose before the sun goes down. I just had a bit of an idea to shoot down on the landscape, see like that, and find some little channels and stuff. But you can see here, I'm going to head over to these salt marsh things here and see if we can get something over there. Maybe something a little bit abstract from above, you know. Right, there we go. Oh, I like this. I'm liking the look of this a lot. So I'm already thinking I might do like a square crop. Wow, I love that channel down on the bottom right. Need to see if I can somehow incorporate him. But yeah, I'm thinking maybe like a square crop, and actually it might get a bit further down. But yeah, I think there's an opportunity here for a bit of an abstract image with the drone. So coming back to the whole brand loyalty thing, as I'm taking what I reckon might be the last photograph here, but oh, I'm going to grab a quick shot here. I think it's looking quite nice. I think the key is to be somewhere in the middle, is, you know, to maybe make some informed decisions along the way of, you know, maybe question yourself, I guess, of like, why do I shoot with this brand? What is it about it that I like? Do I really like it? And if not, then yeah, maybe look at some other options, some different brands and that. But yeah, I reckon, I feel pretty comfy with it. Like I said before, you know, I shoot with Olympus now and again. I've shot with Canon in the past, and I enjoy it. I enjoy trying different ones, but I suppose I do always come back to Nikon. I'm just trying to put you down here on these rocks. It's a nightmare. I'd love to know if any of you have done that, actually. Have you gone out and changed brands, you know, and what was the result? Was it good? Have you been with that newer brand ever since? Or has anyone ever gone back? You know, like thought, oh, I'll shoot with Canon, I'll change over to Sony, and then have you gone back to Canon and you regretted it, you thought you made a mistake? I've never done that, I don't think, but Maybe one day. Now, this last shot here again, it's quite similar to the last one. Wide angle, nice rock pull and a load of these beautiful rocks down in the foreground. But then what was really nice, we haven't got it as much now, but we had this really mad like patch of sunset in the sky, like in between all of the thick cloud. And it looked really cool. I prefer that so much than just a big massive colourful sunset. You know what, I think that might be a lie. I thought about that just as I said it. That's not true, but I think what I mean is I prefer it when there's cloud and a little bit of colour to no cloud whatsoever. There we go. But I just love this big, look at it, man. This big kind of rock pool in the foreground is really, really cool. So yeah, 14mm again, I think. Yeah, polarizer, f11. It's a 2-second exposure now at ISO 64. It's really dark. Oh yeah, I feel like it's a little bit of a shame because that is some really nice colour over in that direction, but everything's just a bit too far away even for the long lens, and you know, I'm just not seeing any compositions over there, but the sky is nice. And yeah, well, I shall leave you there. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please drop a comment down below about the topic of today's video. Like I've been saying, I do think it's an interesting one. It's got nothing to do with photography as such, but we all have our camera brands and we all like them for certain reasons. So yeah, drop some comments down below, and thank you so much for following me along on the Advent series. Please hit the subscribe button and the little notification bell to follow me along right up until Christmas Eve, man. One video every day, I'm loving it. And overall, thanks for your support and cheers for tuning in. I shall see you on the next adventure. Out.